Is that what we do?
Hello, Frugalistas, and welcome. Tonight I have a very special guest, a very special Facebook Live, and as you can probably see, it's not done via Zoom. I have a guest in my own home, would you believe? We've just had a lovely dinner, and now that we have had our dinner and we've had lots of things to chat about, we are going to talk about manifestation with the amazing Angie Rassi. Welcome.
Thank you, Serena, and thank you so much for having me, and thank you everyone else for having me here tonight too. This is my first time.
Well, I'm sure it won't be your last on a Facebook Live, and perhaps not your last as well on the Joyful Frugalista. Certainly not your last with me, because you're also doing one with the Joyful Business Club talking about your board game. So before we get to talk about manifestation, perhaps you could share a little bit about your board game as well.
Oh, okay. So I do have some very exciting news. I have a board game which is called Find Your Bling, and it's a game where you receive insights, clarity and direction around a question that you would like answered. So after you have asked the question to the board game, you'll end up with between 8 and 12 cards, and you'll have an answer to your question. So it's pretty special because it takes you on a guided journey, and you use your intuition, and you use, I don't know, I suppose you just dig deep, and it's amazing what comes up.
And I've received some bling mail a couple of weeks ago. So Angie sent me a lovely card with, I won't spoil all the details of what was in it, but let's just say it was very blingy, it was very fabulous, and it immediately lifted my mood. I was like, wow. But let's just bring it back now to, and really it's fabulous, and it's arrived in Australia, so you know you need this board game, it's amazing. But we're going to talk about manifestation here on the Frugalista, the Joyful Frugalista, and particularly manifesting money and abundance. And I'm going to start by asking first, you know, can you really do this? Like, we've had, a phenomenal year, and it really is. We've just sort of gone past that sort of year anniversary where things have just been starting to happen. And for some people, their economic situation has really changed. Like, it's just been totally disrupted. Like, some businesses have done actually pretty well, but some will never go back to being where they were previously. So for some people who are really doing it tough, and of course women have been disproportionately affected by the events of the bushfire, and especially COVID. And there's been a lot of research done on that. I'm not just making stuff up.
No.
So for people who are really feeling, well, yeah, that's all fine, all these other, rich people going off, earning money who were already doing well, but, it's really, things really suck for me right now. I can't even imagine having abundance and more money into my life, because, that's not where I'm at. So what would you say to these people? Like, is it actually possible to manifest more of things you want into your life?
Yes, absolutely. You can definitely manifest what you want. Now, I think many of us have been in those places where you just feel like you're down a rabbit hole, and you feel like you just don't even know the next step to get up. But the next step to help yourself get up is actually taking control and responsibility of your thoughts. So accepting where you're at first is a wonderful step, because there has to be an awareness where you have that moment where you go, okay, this is where I'm at. I'm not pretending anymore. My cards are on the table, and how do I move forward? And what I find is once you start asking those questions of how do I move forward, what do I need to invite into my life, you can actually start to move forward. So you might be having a real negative thought of I'll never have enough, I'll never have enough. And if you just say thank you, that was my old thought. I'm actually now allowing the flow to come in, and I have more than enough. Because remember, where our energy goes, energy flows. So you can really start to acknowledge that you're actually manifesting more negativity. So by taking responsibility and taking control, you actually have that opportunity to invite and start to manifest abundance back into your life and flow. And it's about the small things. I think people are always looking for the big 10 million or the lotto win.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what you hear in the media.
Yeah, it's not that.
It's almost like if you're not a billionaire, you're not a successful business person some days.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yesterday I was out with a girlfriend for lunch, and and then we asked for some tea, a beautiful green tea each. And what was really lovely was when I went up to pay, he said, no, the tea's on the house today. And I said, no, I insist on paying. And he said, no, but that was an abundant moment. And I believe this is all happening for you too, whether you find $1 or someone does something kind or gives you a muffin or something happens, that is abundance. And I think we forget to look at the sunshine is abundance. There are so many things that we already have that are abundant that we need to drop into that thankfulness for that too, to allow that flow.
Yeah, that's a really big one, and it's really easy to forget that. I mean, in my previous public service role, you know, I was actually earning those 6 figures, and I laugh a lot because in the small business startup, that's often the aim, but like I was earning that. But was I happy? No, because everyone around me seemed to be, you know, earning more than me, getting promoted, getting more opportunities, doing things. So, you know, I didn't even think that was a lot of money. I wasn't that actually grateful for it. I mean, I wasn't because, you know, like I practice gratitude. But, you know, I had to make this conscious effort. You know, every time there was like a promotion round or a posting round and I didn't get up and I didn't sort of go, oh, I'm terrible. But actually stop and go, well, actually, I'm earning already an above average salary here. You know, I've actually got a fairly amazing, you know, job. And, you know, while I'm no longer there, I've now done something else that, to me, is more aligned with my values. But, you know, I had to remind myself of that. Because otherwise, how many people have you met who get bitter and twisted and cynical because they've been passed over a few times?
Oh, definitely.
And they haven't realised how, you know, lucky they actually are.
Yeah, we are so lucky. And we're so lucky because we all, realistically, we are a nation that eats every night. We have somewhere to sleep every night. I know it's not everybody, but the majority do. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, definitely food insecurity is a huge issue. I don't have the current statistics, but it's like more than 1 million Australians or something crazy like that. Like it's really, really bad.
Very sad.
You know, just having that gratitude, you know, for a beautiful meal,
Very
with
thankful for
family
the meal.
and loved ones. Like it's actually, these things are really important.
I think they're very important, yeah. And I think it's the mindset that you also set up in the morning. I know I'm very passionate about that.
So what's your morning ritual look like?
My morning ritual.
You talked about your morning ritual. Mine is like, oh my gosh, I've got to get out of bed. Oh, well, actually, no, I do some other things as well. But it sounds like yours is a little bit more developed than mine.
I'm very passionate about setting the day up with a wonderful mindset. So generally, even before I open my eyes, I'll have an affirmation. And it'll be any affirmation that I'm saying at the time. So at the moment I'm saying, today is the day of my amazing good fortune, show me the way. And I say it with feeling and passion. And then after I have said that, I will always say 3 things that I'm grateful for. Now, I used to say the word I am grateful for, and I couldn't work out why it never resonated with me. So what I ended up doing was I ended up changing it to thankful or blessed or thank you for. So choose a word when you're actually going to say you're grateful. If grateful doesn't sit with you, because you might be like me, that when you were young, you were always told to be grateful for the food, be grateful for that.
Or else you're ungrateful.
You're ungrateful.
That's probably why it doesn't resonate. You know, you're so ungrateful.
Yeah.
You're not, you know, really appreciating this.
That is exactly how I felt.
Food you didn't really want in the first place.
Yeah, so when I used to run the Louise Hay courses, of course I learnt to be grateful from Louise Hay, and then I went, I just cannot sit with this word, but I used it for years, and then I changed it to thankful, and my vibration went up. I went into love and above, and I felt so much better. So I generally start with my affirmation, which I've already shared with you. Then I'll say 3 things that I'm thankful for, but you could use the word blessed, or you could use any word that is welcoming, saying thank you for what you have. So I'll say, I'm thankful for my cozy bed. I'm thankful that I had a beautiful couple with my husband. I'm really thankful that I'm going to talk to my children this morning. I'll say 3 things that I'm thankful for. And you will just notice instantly how beautiful that feels in your body, and you'll start to feel really, really happy. And then the secret in the Bling Morning Ritual is I always ask a question. So my question will be, I have a list of questions, and if anyone would like me to share with them, I'm more than happy to.
Please do, because I want some of your questions.
So some of them are, like one of them is, where would you have me go today? What do I need to know today? So on, I think it was Tuesday, I actually wanted to know where I could have my game, another place that I could have it manufactured. And I woke up and I went, oh, please, I need another place where I can have my game manufactured. Where would you have me go? Who do I need to speak to? And what was amazing, Serena, is about 2 hours later, I had a phone call and someone had already sent me a link to someone who has already developed a board game that has gone global. We're now going to connect, but that is how quickly it works. When you ask the universe in a nice, clear question, it has to be clear and specific, it's amazing what you're going to receive.
Well, it is as well too, because you are putting it out there. Like sometimes it can be as simple as putting it on Facebook and asking people as well.
Yeah.
You are putting that energy out there.
That's perfect. Yeah, you can do that too. I like to say how. Like you can say, how can I grow my business today? How can I meet the man of my dreams? It doesn't matter how the question is, but it just needs to be a very clear question. I love what you just said, and put it on Facebook. That's a really good idea.
Well, I
never thought about that.
I'm really into the sharing economy, and especially with buy nothing groups. Like you put it out there. Like I've just asked for a new office chair because my son needs one. Now we may or we may not go and buy it, but there's no point asking. I've given away so much stuff through my buy nothing group, and I still do. I've given away tables and lamps and all sorts of stuff that at that time in my life I didn't need those things. So, before I go out and buy something, I just ask, and I don't feel bad about this, nothing greedy, because I'm part of that community. I regularly give, and then the flip side is that I receive. And there's huge abundance with that. Now, I just want to actually summarise.
I love that.
I just want to summarise your morning ritual as well. And sorry, I interrupted you as well, but the sharing economy is wonderful too. And you don't have to prove you're like really poor or really desperate or in need.
No.
I just want this, and someone goes, here it is. And and it's lovely when someone asks for something that you have, like you feel really good about it.
So that's just such abundance in such a beautiful way, because people don't want to put their stuff on the side of the road into the tip. If you have a good chair, you love to give it to somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's a win-win, because one, you've made a clearing in their home for something else to flow into their home, and you filled your home with what your needs are at the moment.
Exactly, and they might be moving, they might be moving into state, their kids might have left home. You don't know what's happening in their life, that they no longer need that. And so, I never feel bad about asking. Obviously don't ask.
Definitely ask. I love that.
I want your, grandmother's favourite jewellery. I don't ask for that sort of stuff, but
Probably not.
Probably not. It's a bit appropriate. It probably sounds a bit like stealing, but with love, it's always good to ask your community. So let's just summarise your 3 steps. So you wake up, you have a positive affirmation, and your one at the moment, didn't quite catch it. It was, today is the day of my amazing
good fortune. Show me the way.
Show me the way. I like that. Good fortune. Show me the way. And then you summarise 3 things that you're to be thankful for. So it's not, you must be grateful for this. This is things that, feel genuine from the heart.
In the last 24 hours.
In the last 24
hours.
So
mine is always in the last 24 hours. You always think of 3 things in the last 24 hours. And it just seems to have a stronger feeling.
So that, and then you ask a question, sometimes where, but often a how question, like how can I grow my business today? Or I guess for frugalistas, how can I become more abundant today? How can I create money today?
Definitely. How can I welcome in more money today? Where would you have me go? Or how can I serve someone today?
How can I serve someone today?
I think that's really nice. How can I serve someone today? And you'll be amazed at when you just put something out simple like that you'll be rewarded in so many beautiful ways.
That is fantastic. So moving on then, can I ask you, what sort of things have you manifested in your life? Like, how has this worked for you?
Okay, well, I'll talk about what happened this morning. So this morning I left Sydney to come down to Canberra, and I woke up this morning, I said my affirmation, I said my 3 things that I'm very thankful for, and then I said, I'm ready. I'm ready to start selling the game today. So where would you have me go? And I couldn't believe it. I stopped at one of my favourite cafe shops along the ride from Sydney to Canberra. It's called Ealing Forest. And I went in and I had my lovely chai latte.
Nice.
And, yes, it was very nice actually. And they do lovely cakes there too. As I was going out, the owner came up to me and said, I was just wondering, how's your game going? And I said, look, thanks for asking. It actually has just arrived. I cannot believe it. I'm so excited. And he said, wait 1 minute. I'm going to buy one. So I had already asked, whether it's the universe, God, Buddha, whoever you speak to, I just put it out there this morning to the universe, and I was inviting in that I'm ready to start selling the game again, because I stopped selling for a couple of months. because I didn't know where it was. And it was just amazing. And then it just filled my heart that someone, I thought, that's right, when we ask the universe, it always delivers. It just has to be very clear what you're doing.
That is a great example, and I'm glad you're selling again, because I definitely want mine, and I'm sorry that I missed the last game event in Canberra for many ways, because I know we had a very dear friend there who's no longer with us, who was at that event as well, but unfortunately because of caring responsibilities I couldn't make it that night. But there's a very key word in what you said, and that is ask.
Yes, definitely ask. And ask yourself, take responsibility for those thoughts and flip your thoughts. I always say flip it and flop it. If it's in the negative, take it over and put it back over and put it somewhere positive. And then ask for what you want, because I think the universe wants more for you than you want for yourself.
And asking is a big one, especially as women. We're conditioned to think that it's bad to ask, that it's greedy.
No.
It's selfish.
It's not. It's abundant. And what about if you just woke up and said, today, surprise me. Surprise me with something positive. You don't have to ask for anything in particular.
Yeah.
I have often said, surprise me with something positive. And I remember once I did it with my children, and this man came up and gave us a whole heap of grapes. It was beautiful. We loved it. We were like, oh my God, that is so nice. I know, it was just hilarious. And the kids go, Mum, people give you stuff all the time. I'm like, yeah, I think I asked this morning to surprise me with something wonderful, which I thought that was wonderful.
I've got the duck song now, the duck who wanted, the duck in the lemonade song. Oh, the duck walked up to the lemonade stand and he said to the man, have you got any grapes? I don't know it. It's an earworm. My 8-year-old son who's sitting next to me sang it for nearly the whole trip down the coast once. So let me just say it's an earworm. But anyway, so it's this, whole, story, little song about, a lemonade stand that someone wanting grapes, a duck wanting grapes. So this man has given you grapes. Wow, that's pretty amazing.
It was actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
We still laugh about them. We had many things like that. So, yeah, and feel worthy enough to ask.
Yeah.
I think just feel worthy enough to ask, because you are important. And it is important that you receive. Because as women, we are overgivers. We are forever giving. And we actually block ourselves from receiving. And that's where, if you'd like to try on the Bling Morning Ritual, you will just put yourself in that flow of receiving and inviting goodness into your life.
Which is the second part, really. And so, in law of attraction parlance, there's 3 parts. Last week I spoke about gratitude, which is actually number 3. And so then we've been speaking about asking, which is number 1. And then it's receiving, which is number 2. So going back a little bit, so, number 1 is asking. And so do put it out there. Ask every day. This is what I'd like. Surprise me. How can I do this? Where can I find this? How, and it's okay. And it's like the universe is a big shopping list, really, of possibilities. And you don't need to censor. Like, you don't need to have your sensible hat go on. For instance, I want to manifest a bigger house because my 8-year-old, I don't even need to justify it, right? I just decided that's what I wanted, and I've got a few blocks, quite a lot of mental blocks about it, actually. It's a long story. But, I find myself sort of going, but, you'll have too much of the mortgage, you'll have to work too hard, you'll have to clean too much, yada, yada. You can see all these negativity, right? Whereas, what's wrong with just saying you want a bigger house? But, my brain goes, but people criticise you saying that you're not environmental because you've got a big house, and you're not being frugal because you've got a big house. It's like, no, just stop all of that. I just, at some point, not right now, because I like where I live right now, but at some point, maybe in 5 years' time, I would like a bigger house. And so I forced myself to go out walking around my neighbourhood and look at big houses. I forced myself to look on online real estate places and look at the sort of crazy houses I want. And my lovely husband, who isn't as expansive with his abundance mindset, and who is watching this at the moment. So hi, Neil, you can comment if you like. But, he sort of comes back with these pictures of this, maybe 3 or 4 bedroom, smaller house in the suburbs. And I'm like, no. And so I sent him a picture of a beachside coastal property with a helicopter pad. And I was like... Because, why not? Hi, Neil. He's just said, hi, sweetie. So, don't censor yourself at the asking bit, and have a bit of fun with it. Who knows? We might end up with that property with a helicopter pad.
Absolutely.
So to him, do you want to learn to fly a helicopter? Why not?
I love that. But I love that. Maybe you need a tennis court too.
It's got a swimming pool.
But maybe you can always say plus too. Like, it can always be, like I always say, can I please bring in, like, show me how to bring 1,000 plus. So
Yeah.
yours might be something like, I'm ready for that bigger home, 4 bedrooms plus, and see what the universe wants to bring for you. Like, it's really good to leave with those expanding words.
Yeah, expanding words is good, and this or something better. Like particularly
Yeah, I
like
love
in
that.
the relationships, space, people are often like, they're asking, I want to date that particular person, but unbeknownst to you, that particular person might be
Yeah, it may not be nice.
cheating, not very nice, exactly. So you want to put out
You want the package.
exactly. You want the underlying feeling, like rather than I mean, it is good sometimes to be very specific, with things like I want this particular dress, but once again, this or something better. The universe might have a better house in store for you.
Definitely.
And with guys, as well, and men in your life, this or something better, but the underlying feelings of what you want, the love you want, or the other things you want.
Definitely. It's more of, and that's another thing that I love to do, is always love to come from a space of, can I have more love in my life? Recognizing that I already have love in my life. Could I have more money flow into my home because I already have money in my home? I think sometimes when we're falling in that space of lack and going down the rabbit hole, we forget we already have a lot of what we're asking for. It's just that we would love more of it. Does that make sense?
It does,
Yeah.
it does, because you're coming at it from a completely different energy.
You're coming from a different energy. That's the big thing. And it's the feeling. There's no point saying an affirmation without a feeling, because nothing's going to flow.
Yeah, exactly. And I know we both had the same business coach, and she had a live today where she was talking about her particular block with a scarcity mindset, and that had stopped her doing a number of things. And so once she worked on that scarcity mindset, it opens that opportunity for doing more things. Because when you're feeling poor, it's pretty hard and to go forward. And there's been a lot of studies and research on this as well. But particularly people who are going through chronic debt problems, the mental health impact on that is quite significant. And in fact, your overall IQ level decreases as a result of all that stress you're in. So you're not just dealing with a money problem, you're also dealing with a whole mindset problem.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult often to find a way to negotiate your pathway through, which is why that gratitude is really important, to lift your vibration, and then having that courage to ask.
Yeah, and ask for help too. There's a lot of wonderful services out there now if that has happened to you.
Yeah, that's a very good point too. So don't just suffer in silence.
No,
so
do not. Reach out. And you could even start the day with your affirmation, say what you're and say, who do I need to speak to today that can help me? And believe me, someone will come, someone will connect with you and put you on the right path, or, be responsible and really reach out.
And it is amazing how you do connect with the right people.
You do,
at the right
always.
time
Always
when you
you
need them.
will.
And when you're open to that, and how you start to recognise that. So number 1 is ask. And then number 2, we were talking about previously about being worthy, and that is being worthy to receive. And that is a big thing for women, feeling worthy to receive, isn't it?
Oh, huge. It's huge to be receiving, because we didn't often see our mothers receive. And if you start to feel guilty about receiving, remember, you're always being a good role model for your daughter or your children, because if you don't learn to receive, they cannot learn to receive. And I think that's really important. I know that was a real aha moment for me when I did not know how to receive, and someone said, if you don't receive, your children will never learn to receive. And I'm like, oh my God, you pull at your heartstrings. That always works.
Yeah, and thinking back, I sort of had this real dialogue with myself growing up about being independent. It was really important to be independent, and I didn't want to, say, be reliant on a man. A man is not a financial plan. So, accepting being in a new relationship where I was actually receiving things, as part of a relationship, was actually quite big for me. But, when you give to someone, don't you love giving to someone? And don't you love seeing them light up when they receive something? I mean, hate's probably too strong, but, I guess we've all experienced this. You've thought of something to give someone, and you put a bit of thought behind it, and you really hope they'd like it, and they look at it and they open it and they go, oh, you shouldn't have.
I know, that's a weird comment,
It's a weird comment. It's like, well, like I did.
Well, you don't have to do that. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I didn't do it because I had to do it. I did it because I actually was thinking of you and I wanted to do it.
Yeah, so what you
That's
really...
a funny saying. Now that you bring that up.
And so, like...
It's a bit of a downer.
It is a bit of a downer. So it's just, you just receive. And, You know, it happens. And, you know, one example I often talk about is I have a lovely Chinese friend called Ming. And I went to see her about this time last year, actually, a bit earlier, pre-COVID, when we could go out and meet with people. And I didn't know her very well at that point. She's now since become a very close friend. And we went and had a cup of coffee, and we hadn't ordered yet. And next thing, this older gentleman comes over, and he immediately insists on ordering coffee for all three of us. Now, I could have sat there and gone, oh, no, I'm not going to have one. But, you know, there's power in just saying, yeah, okay, thank you, that's lovely.
Well, you know what I always think? If someone's giving you something and you don't accept it, you're also taking away their joy.
You are.
Because their joy was that they thought of you and they went to that work for you. So you're actually taking something away from them as well.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
that makes sense.
Exactly, and he was a delightful guy. You know, he sat down and we had a chat, and I got to meet, you know, someone. I got to learn a bit about him, and that was very interesting. And followed up with thanks for him afterwards. But then Ming, who's now a good friend, has said, well, actually, in the past, she's bought him lots of coffees. So,
Aww.
you know, that then is part of that cycle. But, you know, that it takes a lot of courage sometimes to receive, and particularly as you were saying before, you know, people who are dealing with some real financial problems and who are really suffering. There is huge courage in saying, you know, I need help, and being ready to receive and accept that. So, you know, these things are really important in terms of doing it. So, we've been talking nearly 30 minutes.
I cannot believe that.
Believe it or not.
I know, that's incredible.
It's where did the time go? And I would love you, Angie, to share some of your affirmations in this group, especially see if I've got this right. Today is the day of my amazing good fortune.
Today's the day of my amazing good fortune. Show me the way. But I could send you through the 10 that I often give ladies whenever they come along to a Bling events or I go to something, and there might be something in there that you like, but tweak it and make it yours. Like if there's a word that doesn't resonate with you, just take that one out and put a word in that does resonate with you.
Lovely. Thank you so very much for being my guest. Yeah, Angie's the real deal. She has manifested many things in her life, and I know we've discussed a number of those personal things she has manifested. And, you know, it is true, and I know we've shared a lot together. There's a lot of things that I've manifested in my life too. So this does work.
It definitely works.
It starts with a thought.
Yeah, it starts with a thought, and thank you, Serena, for having me today. I really appreciate it. And thank you, everybody.